Hello, and welcome to London Pinball. Alright, so I'm working on this GORGAR, and I thought I would talk about the problem that is being experienced with these displays. And this is a common problem, so I thought I would address it because most people immediately think that it's a display issue, and in reality it's most likely not. So I don't know if you can see this, but maybe you can. The second digit from the left there is missing on player 1 and player 3, and sometimes the first digit's kind of doing a weird 5-8 thing, and obviously it's a problem. So along the top of the motherboard on a GORGAR, these are all these connectors are related to the displays, and the signal that the motherboard is putting out goes to the master display down here and then gets distributed to the slave displays. So if these get wiggled like so, look at that, now that digit's back. So, and back on player 3 as well. So what this indicates is that there's a connector problem here. It's either on the female side, which is the terminals that are connected to the wires themselves, or to the header, or it's related to the solder joints on the header pins, or the header pins themselves are tarnished. So the solder joints on a lot of the connectors on these games got they're cut too shallow, they're cut too close to the board, and the pins themselves, the header pins themselves, are not long enough. They don't go through as deep as they should, and so they don't take to the solder doesn't take to them as well as it could. So one solution is to replace the headers. Some people say you can just reflow the solder joints on all the headers, or just replace the headers completely. So what I'm going to do first and foremost is I'm going to replace the female side. Actually, I take that back. What I'm going to do first and foremost is I'm going to reflow the solder on the back side of the motherboard, and I'm going to replace the terminals on these connectors up here, and see if that solves our reliability issue with those display digits. So stay tuned for that. Alright, since we're going to be talking about repinning connectors, this might be a good opportunity to discuss how one would go about doing that. So what I've got here are the two standard Molex tools that allow you to crimp terminals onto wire for the various types. So this guy does the 0.156 terminals, this guy does the 0.100 terminals, so that is the bigger size. These are the smaller size, and these are pretty standard. These sizes are pretty standard for most pinball machines, certainly going back to the 70s and all the way up to really current to 2023 machines use these connectors. So this is the larger housing. I buy these in 24 pin variety because then I can cut them down to whatever size I need. I don't have to worry about buying a billion different sizes. And then these are the 0.1 terminal size. I also get these in as big as I can and cut them down to size, and you can get the the keying plugs that go along with them, so that you can key them so you don't screw it up when you go to plug it into the board. And then of course you've got, if you've been into pinball for any period of time, you've probably heard the term trifurcon. That's this guy here that has 3 points of contact, as the name trifurcon would indicate. 3 points of contact against the header pin. And so you can see the difference between this one and the one right next to it, in that it doesn't have, this one doesn't have the side contacts. And so you might be asking, well, why would I want less contact against the header pin? And the answer is because some boards that use edge connectors don't allow you to, like the housings won't allow you to use trifurcon terminals. They just won't fit in the connector. So a lot of like Gottlieb System 1, System 80, some Williams display. I think some Williams master displays used edge connectors. I might be wrong on that. Does this one? Yeah, see, this one uses edge connectors here, like that. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about there. So you would not be able to use Trifurcon terminals on those types of housings and those types of boards. And then next to the larger ones, I've got the the 18 to 22 gauge terminals here, and then the smaller ones for smaller wires. These are the 24 to 20 or 22 to 26 gauge wires, and so there's different sizes for different size wires. Now, can you use the smaller ones on bigger wires and bigger ones on smaller wires? Sure you can. I guess I've done it before. If you just crimp down real hard and try and make sure there's pressure against the insulation of the wire, it's generally not an issue. If I'm feeling frisky, what I'll do is I will put the part numbers for the terminals and sure maybe the housings into the description of this video. Also, you don't need the Molex branded tools. I bought them because I do this a lot. I've had these for a long time. I found these on eBay, I think, for 75 or 100 bucks each. There is a tool made by Jamico that does both and is much cheaper. I don't own that one, otherwise I would show it here. But I'll put the part number in the description of the video for that one as well. The Molex version of the .156 crimp tool has a locator, which is glorious and fantastic, and does makes life a little bit easier. So the way this works is you grab your wire strippers and you strip a little bit of the insulation off the wire, and then you put your terminal inside the locator here, right in there. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this one-handed, but it goes in there, and the locator kind of holds onto to the terminal while you insert your wire and give it a good crimp and lots of pressure, and you'll have a wonderful, perfect crimped on terminal that you can then slide into the housings. So that's what I'm going to be doing I'm going to do all 5 of these, because why not? I'm in here. I know that it's an issue on at least one, probably going to be an issue on the rest at some point. I should also mention that, of course, you don't need to use brand new housings. The housings that are on here are perfectly fine, and what you can do is use a small flathead screwdriver like this one to kind of push the tab of each terminal down, and then pull the terminal and the wire out of the housing. So I'm going to reuse these housings. The only time I would ever use brand new ones is if they got burned up, like on, say, a Bally power supply or a WPC general illumination circuit, where they take a lot of heat. Heat builds up, causes the terminal and the housing to get hot, obviously, which leads to resistance, which leads to more heat, and so on and so on and so on, until the housing needs to be replaced. So, like I say, just reuse the housings that are already there. So I just got started doing this, and I thought I would mention something that I didn't realize when I started doing this many years ago. But you've got 2 different kinds of housings here. So this is the crimp-on style, which it just has the crimped-on terminals going into the housing like this, and then this is called insulation displacement. This is the insulation displacement connector. And so what this does, the reason they use this is because it was really easy at the factory for installing wires into connectors. So the terminals are, they're put into the housing first, and then the wires just kind of snap into the housing, and the terminal inside there. I don't know if you can see that. The terminal inside there will displace the insulation and make contact with the bare wire down inside underneath the insulation. And so, when I started repinning connectors once upon a time, I wasn't sure if I could reuse this style housing. Yes, you can get the wires out, the terminals out, but can you reuse this style housing? And the answer is yes, but not with trifurcon terminals. So in order to do that, you would have to use these non-trifurcon style terminals. Those will slide into those connectors. Trifurcon terminals, not so much. So there you go. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to remove a pin and then strip the wire back and then install the new terminal on the wire and then insert the terminal into the connector. It's exciting stuff. So the first order of business is to push down the tab on the terminal itself, and then that'll allow you to just pull the terminal right out of the connector like so. And then I'm just going to quite literally cut it right off the wire. Strip back maybe like a 1/16 of an inch. Hardly anything really. And then I'm going to grab my trusty crimper, and I'm going to insert the terminal into the locator here like that, and then I'm going to line up the wire and crimp the terminal onto the wire and insert into the connector. And obviously I'm doing this one at a time so I don't screw it up. And I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but you can see the 3 shiny ones that I've already done, and then the rest are crappy because they are 40 some odd years old. So now I'm going to do the rest, and it will be glorious. Alrighty, so I repinned all these connectors along the top here. I did, all 5 of them. I even did the blanking and whatever. I also did this one here. This is the main power connector, and I labeled them all to say new with the date 0623, because it was June of 2023 when I did this. So let's turn it on and see how we did. Awesome, looking good. I'm going to throw it into display test and make sure everything's honky-dory. Lovely. Alright, I'm super happy about that. Now let's hear GORGAR speak. Isn't that the point? Look at that. Beautiful. Alright, this concludes this video on connectors and display issues and all that good stuff. I'll shoot a normal video, as I always do, showing gameplay of this machine. I think I already have a GORGAR gameplay video on my channel, but hey, it's been a number of years. May as well throw one on there now. Thanks for watching. Hope you found this helpful. Check out londonpinball.ca. If you need help with repairing your pinball machine in Southern Ontario, I'll pay you a house call, and you'll be happy, and so will I. Talk to you later.